She's 90 years old and she wake up earlier than me, has more energy than me, and honestly looks healthier than me. When I moved into my Tokyo apartment 6 months ago, I met Mrs. Tanaka, my elderly neighbor who lives 2 floors down. Every morning at 6 a.m. I'd see her heading out for her walk while I was just dragging myself out of bed. I got curious. What was her secret? So I asked her directly, "Tanaka-san, what's your morning routine?" She laughed, that beautiful laugh elderly Japanese women have, and said, "Nothing special, just what my mother taught me. Nothing special." But when she described it, I realized her nothing special was completely different from how I start my day. So I made a decision. I'd copy her routine exactly for 1 full week. No modifications, no shortcuts. This is what happened. Let me tell you about Mrs. Tanaka. She's 90 years old, lives alone, still does her own cooking and cleaning, walks everywhere, and has this presence, like she's completely comfortable in her own skin. When I asked if I could interview her about her routine, she invited me in for tea. Her apartment was immaculate, not in a sterile way, but in a everything has its place way, and she moved through it with this graceful efficiency that comes from decades of the same rituals. Here's what she told me. Wake up at 6 a.m. No alarm, her body just knows. First thing, open all the windows even in winter. Let the old air out, new air in, she said. Then she drinks a glass of room temperature water. After that, she does taiso, those Japanese radio exercises, either in her apartment or outside if weather permits. 15 minutes every single morning since she was in elementary school. That's 82 years of the same exercises. Then breakfast, and this is where it gets interesting. She makes traditional Japanese breakfast every single day. Rice, miso soup, grilled fish, pickled vegetables, natto, fermented soybeans. She prepares it fresh every morning, takes her time, eats at her low table facing the window. No TV, no phone, no distractions, just eating. She says it takes about 45 minutes from start to finish. Breakfast is sacred time, she told me. It determines your whole day. The rest of morning after breakfast, she cleans her dishes immediately, tidies her space, and then sits for 20 minutes of what she calls quiet time. She doesn't call it meditation. She says she just sits and thinks about her day, what she's grateful for, what needs to be done. Then she gets dressed properly, not loungewear, actual clothes, even if she's staying home. Dressing properly shows respect to the day, she explained. By 8:30 a.m., she's completely ready, and her whole day flows from there. My normal routine. Now compare that to my routine. I wake up to an alarm, usually hit snooze twice, check my phone immediately, scroll for 20 minutes, eventually drag myself up, make coffee, grab something quick to eat, usually while standing at the counter checking emails, get dressed in whatever's clean, start work around 9 a.m. feeling scattered, already behind, already depleted. I realized I've never actually prepared for my day. I just stumble into it. Day 1, the shock. So day 1 of copying Mrs. Tanaka's routine, I set my alarm for 6 a.m. because unlike her, my body definitely doesn't just know. Waking up at 6 felt brutal, but I did it. Opened all my windows. Tokyo morning air in February is cold. This was not pleasant. Drank my room temperature water. Found a taiso video online because I'd never actually done these exercises. Started following along. I was embarrassing myself. These look so simple when Mrs. Tanaka demonstrated them, but I was struggling with the coordination. Breakfast challenge. Then came breakfast. I had to go shopping the night before because I didn't have any of these ingredients. Grilling fish at 6:30 a.m., making miso soup from scratch. I was in my tiny Tokyo kitchen feeling completely overwhelmed. It took me over an hour. Mrs. Tanaka said 45 minutes. I was not efficient, but I sat down at my low table with this complete traditional breakfast, and it was actually beautiful. I felt like I was doing something important, even though I was just eating breakfast. Day 1 aftermath. By 8:30 a.m. on day 1, I was exhausted. All this preparation and I hadn't even started work yet, but I also noticed something. I felt present. Usually by 8:30 a.m. I've already scrolled through hundreds of social media posts, checked 20 emails and felt vaguely anxious about everything, but this morning I'd just been in my apartment, doing morning things. It was strange. Different, not necessarily good yet, just different. The struggle days 2 and 3 were hard. The early wake up was killing me. The taiso exercises were still awkward. I kept messing up the coordination. The breakfast preparation still took forever. I started understanding why Mrs. Tanaka emphasized routine. She's done this for decades. Her hands know exactly how to move. She doesn't think about it. For me, everything required conscious effort. I was tired. I asked myself, is this actually worth it? Or am I just romanticizing elderly wisdom? The turning point, day 4, something shifted. I woke up at 5:55 a.m. 5 minutes before my alarm. My body was starting to adjust. The taiso exercises felt less ridiculous. My arms knew where to go, and breakfast prep took only 50 minutes this time. I was getting faster, but more importantly, I started noticing how I felt after these mornings. By 9 a.m., instead of feeling scattered and reactive, I felt capable, like I'd already accomplished something meaningful before most people were even awake. I went back to visit Mrs. Tanaka on day 5 to update her. She was delighted. "You look different," she said, "more settled." I told her about the struggles, the exhaustion, the time it takes. She nodded. "Of course, you're building new kata, new forms. It takes time for your body to remember." She explained that in traditional Japanese culture, kata are practiced forms. In martial arts, tea ceremony, even daily life. The repetition isn't boring, it's what creates mastery and peace. What I learned by day 7, I understood something profound. Mrs. Tanaka's routine isn't about the specific activities. Yes, the exercises are good. Yes, the traditional breakfast is nutritious, but the real power is in the structure. She starts every day with rituals that require her full presence. No multitasking, no screens, no rushing. Each activity gets its full attention. The window opening, the water drinking, the exercises, the cooking, the eating, the quiet sitting. Each one complete before moving to the next. We modern people, we're always trying to optimize, do more, faster, breakfast while checking email, walking while listening to podcasts. We think we're efficient, but Mrs. Tanaka showed me we're not efficient, we're just fragmented. She does one thing at a time, fully, and because of that, she moves through her morning with this incredible grace and efficiency. No wasted motion, no mental clutter, just clear, intentional action. Can we talk about taiso for a moment? Pause. I thought these exercises looked boring. Simple arm raises, torso twists, leg stretches, nothing intense. But after a week of daily practice, I realized they're genius. They're not designed for performance or achievement, they're designed for sustainability. Mrs. Tanaka has done these every day for 82 years. 82 years, the same movements. That's not boring, that's devotion, that's understanding that consistency matters more than intensity. I used to think elaborate breakfast was a luxury, something for weekends when you have time, but Mrs. Tanaka taught me it's not a luxury, it's a foundation. She puts care into her first meal because she's setting the tone for her entire day. When you start your day by taking care of yourself properly, really properly, not just grabbing whatever's quick, you're telling yourself, I matter, my well-being matters, this day matters. One of the hardest parts for me, the silence. No music during exercises, no podcast during breakfast preparation, no phone during eating, just silence and natural sounds. My brain kept wanting to fill that space with input, entertainment, distraction, but gradually I started appreciating it. The sound of fish grilling, my own breathing during exercises, the morning birds outside. These simple sounds became somehow richer when they weren't competing with media. What I'm keeping, so after 7 days, here's what I'm keeping. I'm keeping the 6 a.m. wake up, not because it's virtuous, but because I genuinely feel better starting my day before the world demands things from me. I'm keeping the taiso. I actually ordered a proper Japanese radio so I can follow the real NHK broadcast like Mrs. Tanaka does. I'm keeping the traditional breakfast at least on weekdays. I'm keeping the quiet eating, and I'm keeping the dressing properly habit. It really does change how I move through my day. What am I modifying terrifying. I'm not opening my windows in winter anymore. I tried. I'm not Mrs. Tanaka. I'm keeping the window opening for moderate weather. I'm also doing a slightly simplified breakfast on busy mornings. I make larger portions of miso soup and rice so I can reheat them. Mrs. Tanaka doesn't need this shortcut because she's perfected her timing. I'm still learning, and that's okay. But here's the biggest thing I learned. This isn't about copying someone else's routine exactly. It's about understanding the principles behind what makes their routine work. Mrs. Tanaka's morning works because she prioritizes her well-being first thing. She does things fully and sequentially. She respects ritual and repetition, and she starts her day from a place of calm, not chaos. Those principles, they're universal. The specific activities, those can be adapted. There's something powerful about learning from elderly people. Mrs. Tanaka isn't following the latest wellness trends. She's not doing morning routines because some productivity guru said to. She's doing what worked for her grandmother, her mother, and now her across 3 generations. That kind of wisdom has been tested by time. It survived decades, maybe centuries. In our modern world obsessed with the new, we forget that old wisdom became old because it worked. I asked Mrs. Tanaka what she thinks keeps her healthy at 90. She said 3 things: consistency, purpose, and gratitude. Consistency in her daily rituals, purpose in taking care of herself and her space, gratitude for each new day. She doesn't take supplements or follow complex protocols. She just does the simple things every single day with presence and care, and her body reflects that. She has better posture than me, better energy than me, better peace than me. At 30, I'm learning wellness from someone at 90. How did we get this backwards? This week changed something in me. Not everything. I'm not suddenly a different person, but something shifted. I understand now why Mrs. Tanaka laughed when she called her routine nothing special. It is nothing special. It's just good, simple practices done consistently with care. But in our modern world where we're always chasing the next optimization hack, that simplicity, that's actually revolutionary. Maybe what we need isn't more. Maybe we need less, done better. If you're thinking about your own morning routine, I'd encourage you, find an elderly person you respect, ask them about their habits, really listen, there's wisdom in longevity, and maybe copy their routine for a week, not to become them, but to learn what they know. Thank you, Tanaka-san, for teaching me, and thank you for watching. Let me know if you try this experiment yourself. Mata ne.